Hello, welcome. This is the 6 yard box. This is the 6 yard box. This is the oppressor and Postacoglu's conference. The Tottenham Luton game, which is going to be played at Kenilworth Road. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, follow, like, share. This is ANGE'S oppressor, and let's get straight into it. And if you're new to the channel, like I said, follow, like, share. This is the 6 yard box. And good evening, whatever time, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching. I really appreciate every single person that's watching this and all our other content. Really appreciate every single person. So yeah, let's get straight into this press conference. Tottenham taking on Luton. It's an early kickoff tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a watch along for this. So yeah, make sure you definitely get yourself involved in the watch along tomorrow. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. Make sure you get yourself involved. And let's listen to the press conference. I think the first thing that they normally do is they normally ask question about the team list in terms of the players, injuries, and suspensions. So let's get straight into it.
There's been talk about obviously Sonny and kind of his training time and match time. What's the latest on him?
I guess the main one for us this week's been Manuel Sullivan, who unfortunately during training got a significant injury to his knee, so that's disappointing because he'll miss some significant game time obviously over the next few months. So that was disappointing because he was he was contributing to us already and growing into his role, and with Ivan Perisic already down, it's not ideal when you lose another player in that position. So he's obviously out. Brennan Johnson was close, but again, he's not quite 100%. And for us with the international break, we're kind of hoping that he'll get that time during that to be available straight after. From last week, everyone else is okay. Sonny's fine. He trained the last 2 days, and he's no problem.
James Madison as well. Similar, you have to wrap him in cotton wool a little bit.
No one's wrapped in cotton wool, mate. There's no cotton wool. It's only barbed wire and uncomfortable uniforms, mate. So they all work hard every day. They just have different programs. But Matters has trained all week. He hasn't missed a session.
You touched briefly on the VAR incident last week, but there's been a week of developments. The audio's come out. It was obviously a horrendous error. Now the dust has settled a little bit. What's your view on it all?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one because, like, usually when something major happens, you get a sense of it during the game, and I don't think anyone really had a sense of that something significant had happened. Certainly, maybe I'm just focused on the game, but I didn't get that sense. I think straight after the game, Beth mentioned to me that there was a statement coming out, but even then, the first sort of questioning I got wasn't really about that. And then it was only when I got to the press conference and all you blokes were muttering amongst yourselves and not listening to me that I knew something important must be happening. And then you kind of realise what's happened, and obviously fairly significant event during a game of football that you kind of, and look, whatever I say is probably maybe going to be seen through the prism of we were the beneficiaries of a mistake, and we certainly were that. There was, the facts of it are there was a legitimate goal that Liverpool scored that wasn't given. You kind of look at why it's not given, because that's obviously the first thing you kind of question. Well, what's broken down? Obviously something's broken down, and it became pretty clear there was it wasn't an integrity issue. It wasn't a misappropriation of the law. It was
What is a mechanical trading edge? Well, let me walk you through a set of mechanical trading rules. Here's how they work. Now, they're built using statistics, okay? And to explain how, imagine
it was an error, in communication, a mistake that cost Liverpool a goal, and that's what it was. And I get that it's an unusual one in that it's never happened before, but at the same time, we're kind of in a new space anyway with technology, where I think there'll be a lot of firsts with the way we deal with these things. As I said after the game, my view is that we want an errorless, faultless system that I just don't think exists and will never exist unless we want to turn our game into like other codes where, you know, the event goes for 4 hours where we're explaining every decision.
Yeah, I guess I'm not surprised about this. This press conference is all about the game between Liverpool and Tottenham in terms of decisions, and that's what's going to happen. I think we're still going to be hearing questions about that. I think it's a bit difficult for him to talk about because whatever he's saying, it's going to be like, oh, you benefited from it, blah 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 blah. It's the wrong decision. The goal should have been given. I think everyone should be concerned. What we should be looking at now is that we should be looking at ways that those kind of stuff don't happen again. And I think that's what we should be looking at in terms of going forward. And every team has benefited from a decision one way or the other in the league. So I think is a case of they just go look at it and make sure mistakes will happen, but when the mistakes happen, they have a window to fix the problem instead of just carrying on with the game. So yeah, because everybody's talking about that decision, nobody's even talking about the game, to be honest, anymore. So it's a shame, but I think at least that's something they need to look into at least going forward and to make sure something like that don't happen again. The officials have to be sure they keep their integrity of the game and just take a few minutes and just correct decisions, because that's what they're there for, especially in the VAR.
But, if you had been aware of the gravity of the error, would you have done a Bielsa maybe and given a Liverpool chance to score a goal?
I just don't see that as, if we want managers to be the arbiters of these kind of things. I mean, we've got pretty hefty responsibilities at our football clubs, but we're not the custodians. I wouldn't make a decision that potentially could send your club down or could potentially on the back of what my beliefs are. And in that moment, if somebody can tell me that they could explain everything that went on within the sort of prism of 30 seconds that I have to make a decision, wasn't going to happen. I mean, it's different if it's something clear, but it's quite obvious that it was a bad error, a bad mistake, like I said, through lack of communication, but it wasn't something that was easily explainable, because if it was, I would assume there would have been more uproar during the game than there was.
I know you don't want to talk about Fonz again, but you could go top of the league this weekend.
That was cringy, man. The guy, who was that? That's from Sky. That's the guy from Sky. What's his name again? I can't remember his name. Why did he play that? What's his name? Is the guy Sky reporter? Oh man, that was cringy, man. That was it was funny, but it was cringy as well. Look at the manager's face.
Something to be happy about, right?
Oh, wow. Firstly, can I say what a gentleman Henry Winkler is? He sent me a message, and that's truly chuffed by that, because...
yeah, I didn't even know that what's his name? Winkler was a Tottenham fan. Fonzie, I don't think all these young boys will know who Fonzie is. So I didn't even know he was a Tottenham fan. So yeah, when I saw him, I saw the video. I was like, oh, so he's a Tottenham fan. Okay, so yeah. But that team tune just now, it's funny, but yeah, I think it's funny actually, but it's just a little bit cringy.
think I said during the week, sometimes you get disappointed when you mention your heroes. But what a great gentleman! And if he does send me a poster signed, I will definitely put it on my wall. Despite the protestations of my wife, but look, if we win, we go top of the table for 24 hours, but who cares, mate? We've got to win. We've got to win. It's a tough game tomorrow. Our focus got to be on putting on a performance and playing at our best, because if we don't, then it won't matter where we're sitting on the competition ladder. It'll be us focusing on a poor performance.
Yes.
No more props, please.
Oh god, yeah. That's like I was saying as well. I was thinking, it's like these are the kind of games that it's like you're expected to win as Tottenham. You go into to win, but you have to be on your A game. Premier League is difficult. Managers talk about it week in, week out. The league is tough. You gotta be on your A game, or else you be done. You be in trouble. So I think Tottenham just have to go game and try just play their best game. Don't underestimate Luton. If they do that, I think they'll come on stock. So they just have to play their A game. Tomorrow.
Next week. Looking at Burnley this weekend, they obviously lost against Burnley on Tuesday, Luton Town. But how resilient do you think they will be, because they did manage to pick up 4 points in the last 3 games?
Yeah, I think they will be. If you look at all their games, maybe the results haven't been as positive as they would have liked, but they've all been really tight games. I mean, they haven't been blown away by anybody, and that kind of tells you that Rob has done a fantastic job to get them promoted in the first place, and they did that on the back of really some resilience and competitiveness that they're bringing to the Premiership. They're going to fight for everything, and that's what we expect tomorrow. Like I said, we've got to play our football, try and sort of steer the game to the kind of things we want to sort of dominate in, because if we don't, then it becomes a real difficult game for us.
Because of the size and the conditions at Kenilworth Road, do you think you might have to adapt your style of play to play slightly different than usual?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, for us, we're at that stage where, we want to try and continue to grow our football, the team we want to be. We're still sort of learning aspects of our game, and the only way we'll continue to get improvement at the moment is, and sort of charting our course and our development, is by making sure that we focus on ourselves and playing our football irrespective of the challenge, whether that's the opponent, the venue, whatever it is. We're just at that stage where it's still about us developing our game.
I know it's your first season in the Premier League, but it's also for Luton Town. How impressive you've been with their journey to make it back, and also Rob Edwards was leading them over.
Yeah, brilliant. As I said, I think.
I think it's just a case of I noticed something at the press conference. They asked, the questions are similar, really, from the reporters. And like I was just talking about, got to be on our A game tomorrow, Tottenham, and it's going to be physical, tight pitch as well. Just got to be clinical in terms of Tottenham, and then just go play their game. This is a game they have to win. They must win, to be honest. There's no excuses losing to Luton Town. No disrespect to Luton, but this is a game they have to, just go on and win before the international break. I think national break is next week. Yeah, next weekend. So, and going top of the table is relevant at this stage, to be honest. It's only good. It's good for the people that's good for, but it makes no difference. It's all about just getting results and playing well, and just going through the process of building a good team for the future. So that's what the aim is with this manager.
It's been a fantastic story. I obviously followed English for a while, and I remember when Luton were amongst the big boys for a long time, and then obviously they fell down that pecking order of the football hierarchy, but to fight themselves up from where they are, it's great for the town. And like I said, Rob's done a brilliant job. Because even last year, there were some pretty big clubs that were challenging for promotion, and he got them up there. And I can see that in his team again. That any team is going to play them, they're in for a tough game.
Ali. Hi, Ange. Giovanni Lo Celso, he's been named in the Argentina squad. Is he close enough now to be involved in your matchday squads or not?
Yeah, Gio and Brian Gill are both trained, the majority this week. So, it's good to have them both back, and they're both available.
I was going to ask you as well about Sonny. Obviously, you've been talking about his managing training sessions, things like that.
I think that's good news on the injury front for Tottenham. Giovanni and Brian Hill, they are both back in the team. So they've been out for a while. So I think that's a good thing for Tottenham, for the both of them to come back into the team. Gives the manager a little bit more options, especially on the left. And it's good. I think injuries are going to be the problem for Tottenham going forward. Hopefully, no more injuries. The players are off to international breaks, and Son is injured. They've been managing him, suffering from an injury as well. And that's going to be key, man, because if Sonny gets injured, then I think it's going to be a lot of problems for Tottenham.
Again, international base, but Korea have got 2 friendlies coming up. Is there ever a scenario where maybe this is one scenario where you might have a word with Jurgen Klinsmann, having been an international boss yourself, and just ask, is there any way to manage him through that period?
Look, as valuable as Sonny is for us, he's just as valuable for his national team, and I'm sure Jurgen will look after him, and Sonny looks after himself. It's not for me to dictate to national team managers. Like I said, I've been on the other side of the fence, and whenever I was national team boss, I took care of the players, knowing full well that they have to go back to their clubs and manage whatever we could through that.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should be. Sometimes I think that's the way it should be as an international manager. You get the players for internationals, and I think it should be a little bit responsible in terms of the way you use the players, especially for friendlies. And you should be managing the players in the right way. And in this case, we're talking about Sonny. He travels, I don't know, 18,000 miles or whatever miles he's on to go and play for his country. I'm never going to say a player shouldn't play for his country. You see some fans of the Premier League saying, "Oh, we pay their wages." Yeah, but come on, man. Some of these players, if they didn't play for their national team, you won't even see them in World Cups. So, I wouldn't stop a player from playing for his national team, but I think it's the responsibility of both the club managers and the international managers as well to manage those players, to make sure, the players are in good condition when they do go back to, their clubs or their national teams. So I think managers should manage your squad properly. I know you want to play your first 11, so you want to win games. I think it's just good for international managers to manage the players properly, and especially when players that are carrying injuries. So I think I'm on the side of Ange, saying it's not his it's not in his remit to be telling international managers on how to how to manage players in terms of their condition and fitness. I think international managers should decide and make sure that and I think the players will talk to the manager as well and say, I don't want to, I can only play like 20 minutes or something, or 30 minutes or 60 minutes in this game. I think manager, players, especially Sonny, has been playing for a while. He's not a young kid. It's not a teenager anymore. He's got a lot of experience, and he should be able to talk to his manager. And I think any player should also be free to do that as well. Especially if it's like a friendly, So I think I'm definitely on Ange's side on that one. I don't think managers should be telling international managers how to manage players.
I'm confident Sonny and Jurgen will manage him through that process. It's nothing too drastic that needs to be done, and Sonny's the kind of the best judge of that. And like I said, he hasn't missed a game for us yet, so he's contributing significantly in every game.
One of the things you said after the game on Saturday, you spoke about Matty Wells and his work with Pedro Porro in the defence. Just wondering if you're okay about saying it, kind of knowing a little bit more about the structure of your coaching staff and who else works with what groups of the squad?
Yeah, look, I think I said at the start, I think I've got some fantastic coaches, and when
Yeah, and I think you're just talking about people, staffs working with different aspects of the team. I think before I always think that only in American football, where you have defensive coach and what do you call it, linebacker, whatever, you have different section for different coaches. It really never occurred to me that they do in football, although I should know that they do in football. But I think some clubs are really going into it, and where you have set piece coaches, people working with strikers, defenders, and whatever, midfielders. So I think it's just something that is an evolution of football management nowadays, where they use loads of stats, use loads of different, some psychology. Some people get shrinks in to come and speak to players, and that's why sometimes that's what we fans we are not privy to sometimes. When we're saying, why is the manager taking him off? He's the best player on the pitch. Sometimes the stats from the medics and the stats of fitness is saying that this player can only give you 60 minutes, full 60 minutes in terms of his offensive play and tracking, and tracking back as well. Then after 60 minutes, you're not going to get anything from him. Defensively, you might get something going forward offensively, but defensively, it's going to be a bit, it's going to be struggling in terms of fitness. So those are the stuff that managers look at before making decisions on which player is going to play, what minutes and all that kind of stuff, which we as fans are not privy to. So I know football has moved on a lot, especially it's high stakes now and loads of money in the game, especially in the Premier League. So everything is, everything is in tip-top condition. The players are in fantastic conditions, and every single thing is monitored for them to give optimum performance on every Saturday. So yeah, I'm not surprised, although I was a bit surprised, but to be honest, I shouldn't be. So yeah, I think that's going to be the end of the press conference from my side. I think it's just a case of the manager looks relaxed. The body language never changes, and I think he's comfortable with his team, where his team is. I think it must be a little bit surprised in terms of how far they've been. But I think he comes across as somebody that's not going to be surprised by much. And we will see what happens in tomorrow's game, as Tottenham play Luton at Kenilworth in Kenilworth Stadium in Luton. It should be a win for Tottenham, but you never know. Premier League is very tough. Tottenham have to take it seriously as well. Thank you very much for listening, for watching. This is 6 Yard Box. This is Angie's Up Presser. This is Tottenham versus Luton. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you follow, like, share, and God bless.